This is what we call the point of really no return. Make sure you guys smash the crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more Oz content. Another next play event in the books out here. And wow, you know, your meta has shifted so much out here that you will look at Snake Eyes and you're like, oh yeah, it's hard to believe that deck was such a dominating force not even like 2 months ago. Now that Risel and Malice have been just smashing the meta out here, yeah, if you're truly worried about the current TCG state of things out here, yeah, so the reason why I call this the turning point is this is the point where the meta has begun to become solved very rapidly. This is where people start to go, oh, hey, you know, like, what can we play, kind of counteract this? And this is where the old decks start to fall out, and this is where you're going to start to see infinite Risel and Malice deck list over and over again. So out of this week's event, you had 8 Risel. It's actually crazy to see that that is your huge participation number out here. And then, of course, Malice following it up with 5. You know, I do think it's kind of impressive to see that both of these decks have been so neck and neck with each other out here, showing their domination on the meta. And then we have 4 Labyrinth decks in this event. Lab actually has a pretty decent Risel matchup, as long as, you know, you can kind of go first and set up. I think it's been the general consensus. Tempai, and then only 2 Blue Eyes. You know, that Blue Eyes deck released last week, right? It's meta, right? Right? No, it's not. Sorry to tell you that. We also have 2 Voiceless Voice. Would also appear, I mean, we have Exo Sister. I don't know what the one before that was. Black Wings, Dynamorphia, 1 Snake Eyes, and then, of course, 1 of the Ryuji and a Rika plant deck. Wow. Now, this is what I mean by the turning point here. Look at your top cut. Look at this top cut. What in the world? Now, for some reason, they love to do a top 7. I believe that their reasoning is, you know, if you're not X1, get out of here. You know, leave. You're donezo. I don't know why they just don't even it out to a top 8, but whatever. It's always more interesting to see the things that they do out here. So, your most dominating deck in top cut is Risel. Yeah. And you guys wanted a change in the meta, right? You know, you're going to be fatigued out of this by January. I guarantee it. Like, if Supreme Darkness doesn't change the meta, and you're sitting here and you're like, oh, you know, like, things will change, Yu-Gi-Oh! Will be fine. Yeah, you're going to get fatigued really quick by a rank 4 deck changing the meta. But it is good to see that power creep on the horizon here. And then, of course, 1 Malice to 4 Risel decks in top cut. I will say, though, this Malice deck was able to get second place. So it's not like this deck wasn't a strong competitor. No, it was here, it did its job, and it pushed the boundaries of this top cut, which is good. We also had 1 Flambersion, friends. It's still... I'm so happy to see that this deck has fallen so far from grace that it is hilarious to see. And then, of course, 1 Labyrinth found its way into top cut here. So, I mean, naturally, Labyrinth tries to be the counter pick out here to Risel, as I said in the Swiss rounds. And last week in the next play event, we did see Lab ended up kind of overcoming the Risel threat. So, you know, but what was, you know, your winning deck? Yeah, guess what? It was Risel with Malice coming up directly behind it with more Risel. So if you're looking at this deck and you're like, oh man, you better be getting your deck build pack stuff while you have the chance. It's going to be great. Let's pass on over to deck list. So winning your event here is Risel. Yay. Now do keep in mind, we are playing the 7 Tachyon. It has been proven to me that you do not need 7 Tachyon to play this deck. Kong's has already done some tournament data I have on the back burner out here, and we have very, very strongly seen that you do not need 7 Tachyon to play this deck. Alright, this deck's engines are insane. We're also playing 2 copies of the field spell, which I do think is fine. You know, the field spell shenanigans being able to be this little extra push for you, in my opinion, typically ends up being very, very strong. The shifters, the Lancias, all of the anti-meta cards, also only 2-dimensional barriers. It's kind of funny, actually, because Dimensional Barrier just seems kind of like an auto-win card against this, and I'm sure a lot of the TCG is going to try to find a way to, barrier this deck as much as they can. Yeah, understandably so. It's all you need is just floodgate your opponent, win the game. Now, our Malice deck here in second place. Love the fact that we're still only playing 2 Dormouse. The 2 of is, it's great. This poor deck is never going to get over that. You play the 8 monsters, you call it a day. I see that we are playing one of the little Salamangreat Code Talker looking friend. Okay, well that's kind of cool. Of course, double Firewall. This deck still has access to Apollo, so I am kind of curious. Actually, I can't even say that because I've watched this deck play post, and they didn't need Apollos. Apollos is just kind of like DLC at this point. Like, it helps the board. I'm actually kind of hoping that the OCG next list actually blows Apollosa out of the water so we can be on some even terms out here. Because Apollosa is really just one of those cards that is so absurd to deal with, and actually not having to deal with it actually fundamentally kind of makes the game a little bit better in my personal opinion. But this deck is incredibly dumb at what it does. Next up here, we have more Risel. Now, this list, still playing 2 Field Spell. I think it's probably going to be the way to go, honestly. Just being able to jam pack in and do the thing. All right. And we also have the summon limit built into the main deck. OCG, I'm proud of you for still having summon limit. I love the fact that you're able to do these little stupid things, but stop it. All right. This build's also playing Desires. That's the other thing. 7 Tachyon, just play some Desires. All right. Still see the number 70 showing up down here. Side deck, double Dimensional Barrier again. Wouldn't you just want to play 3 at this point? Unless I'm missing something, I don't know, it feels like maybe, just maybe, there could have been some better calls. Maybe it's limited. I forget, looking at the OCG list. Meteor Logic is mandatory. The Utopia is also something cute I've been seeing. And of course, the Starleash Photon Dragon in here as well has been pretty cool. After all of this, we just never played the Rafflesia. It's kind of sad. All right, next up here, we have more Risel. This one playing Protector of the Sanctuary. That's right, Duelist. Protector of the Sanctuary has been going up in price in the OCG. Do you know why it's been going up in price? Because the card is incredibly good. It's evidently a normal summon that just stops your opponent from getting the chance to advance gameplay. Since you're playing Risel, you don't really care. You just go ahead and go through your entire pummeling field of things through the revolving glass door, and things just continue on consistently. All right, that's what you want. All right, the revolving door of good stuff just keeps on keeping on. And I see we're also playing Heat Waves in here. I can't tell if I'm more impressed or less impressed by the ideas that are actually kind of happening with this. Okay, now we also have some other stuff that didn't quite do so good. We do have a Labyrinth list here now for the people that have been like, hey, are they doing the simultaneous equation cannon stuff? No, OCG doesn't like simultaneous equation cannon stuff. It's cute. I'll give them that. It's a cool idea, but it hasn't really stuck around and done anything too crazy. I see we do have the arrest card down there for the support, and of course, hey, I'll just draw some free traps to use on the next turn. Draw into the Dominuses, or the one of Nibiru that we play. What is the OCG loves one Nibiru with the Mulch Armies and the Maxi? It's there's no point in maximizing it, because if they play into it, I'll draw the Nib, and then your opponent will be like, oh yeah, so can't really do anything too much with that. And of course, the natural summon limit built into the main deck to limit the opponent's potential. And then of course, there's your triple dimensional barrier. Somebody gets it. Alright, see, the card's not limited to 2. Alright, and then we have Dynamorphia Ryuji. So this deck has been an interesting contender to watch out here. Dynamorphia kind of slotted itself in with Ryuji. Now granted, you can play any of the dinosaur stuff with this deck, and have success with it. I've seen it out here, but for whatever reason, duelists have chosen that this is the more natural approach, being able to use Rexstrom to floodgate your opponent out of the game. You still do have the Ultimate Slayers in here. You have so much extra deck space you can throw stupid cards in and get these interactions with, that it's actually pretty freaking funny just to see what's cooking out here. So nothing else really too crazy to mention. This is, we've seen this for the last couple weeks. It's been here, it's doing its thing. All right, so what do you guys think about this? Please, leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think. I'll see your beautiful faces back here later in the day, guys. Peace. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.